Hey everyone. Alright, today's video is going to talk about the real number system. Your objective: I will differentiate between rational and irrational numbers using a Venn diagram. Alright, so let's review rational numbers. So we know that our smallest group of numbers that we discussed, those are the natural numbers. And those are your counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. Then we have the whole numbers, and the only new thing with the whole numbers is that it starts with 0 instead. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now our third largest group is the integers, and that is all the whole numbers and their negatives, including 0. So we have positive 1, 2, 3, negative 1, 2, 3, and of course 0 in the middle. Now, a rational number is just any number that can be represented as a ratio, A over B, where B cannot equal 0. Okay, so that could be any fractions or decimals. Now, if it's going to be a decimal and if it's going to be rational, it should be a terminating decimal, which means that it stops, or it could be a repeating decimal that has a pattern to it, such as 1 repeating, or maybe it is 12 repeating. Now, real numbers are the set of rational and irrational numbers. And we talked about this a little bit in class already and in the last video, but an irrational number is going to be a continuous decimal. It does not repeat or have any pattern. And we already know that the square roots of non-perfect squares are irrational. So if something is irrational, it cannot be represented as a fraction. All right, now I went ahead and wrote that right there for you to see. All right, so we have already differentiated between rational and irrational numbers in class, but now let's take all of those sets of numbers that we know about, and what we're going to do is we are going to place them onto this Venn diagram. So as you can see, we have the rational numbers and its subsets. Then we have the irrational numbers, and that's going to be an entirely different set, and those combined make up the whole set of real numbers. Alright, so I'm just going to start over here. Alright, so here we have the square root of 111. Now, if you have your perfect squares chart, then you can see that 111 is not a perfect square. So if we found the square root of that, that would be a continuous decimal that does not repeat or have any kind of pattern, so it would be irrational. The number 1, well, that's a counting number. And I want to put these in the most specific group. So I want to put them in the smallest group that I can place them in. So 1 would begin in the natural numbers. Negative 6.7, that is a terminating decimal, and any terminating decimals are going to be rational. 6 is a counting number, so I know that would begin with natural numbers. Now pi, that is an irrational number because it is a continuous decimal. It does not have any kind of pattern to it. 0, the most specific subset that would go into is whole numbers. Now we have negative 3.3 repeating. Now, since this is a continuous decimal and the 3 repeats, then that's actually going to be rational because we've got that pattern there of the 3 repeating. 2/3 is a fraction, and that is going to be rational. Negative 17, that would be an integer. That's the lowest subset it can belong to. Negative 46, that's going to be the same. 15 is a counting number. Now the square root of 36, whenever we solve that, we know that the square root of 36 is really 6, and we're just focusing on the positive 6, so we can go ahead and we can place that with the natural numbers. Now, if we were to look at this as, the square root of 36 is a positive or negative 6, then it would be integers. But we are just going to focus on the positive 6. And last but not least, we have this number here. Sorry, sometimes you will hear the bell in my videos. Alright, so we have a continuous decimal, but as you can see, there is no pattern and there's nothing that's actually repeating, so this will be an irrational number. Alright, now it is time for you to try. So I want you to take these 5 numbers and I want you to describe if they are rational or irrational. Again, you have already had some practice with this in class, so you can use that to assist you and these notes. Alright, make sure you have everything written down and I will see you in class.